In Alien Cubed, Ripley once again takes on the deadly alien species known as Xenomorphs. But this time, the rules have changed. She no longer has access to modern weaponry, marines, or a disciplined starship crew. Instead, she's forced to team up with a group of felons on a prison colony light years from Earth where the best weapon available is a kitchen knife. Sounds like a losing situation, right? Well, maybe not. It's human creativity, not weapons, that has always put us one step ahead of other species. Creatures of all shapes and sizes have succumbed to our ingenuity over the ages. So why wouldn't one, albeit extremely dangerous alien, be the exception to this rule? The third installment of the series begs the question of whether humans could beat a xenomorph without guns and airlocks. While I think the answer to that question is no, we die even faster, it's a cool premise to explore. So in this video from Strange Thoughts, we're going to get downright prehistoric hunter. Together, we're going to brainstorm how to beat xenomorphs with the primitive weapons and deadly traps of our ancestors. However, before we get on with the hunt, hit the like and subscribe button as it really helps me make more videos. And do it now, because even if we somehow beat this beast, most of you will die in the process long before we jam its head on a pike. Also, we're going to do something a little different in this video. I'm not going to sit here pretending I have all the answers. I want to hear your thoughts. Comment below with your ideas for beating a xenomorph sans modern weapons and technology. At the end of a future video, I'll feature the best idea and get you some internet fame with my incredibly large fan base of 20,000 subscribers. If you're more of a lurker, use your thumbs to help me review the ideas. With that said, let's get started. Our analysis begins where the second movie ends. Ripley, Newt, Kyle Reese, and a synthetic named Bishop make it onto a ship after nuking the xenomorph-infested colony, Hadley's Hope. They then drift into cryosleep, forgetting to check for the all-too-common alien stowaway. On their way back to Earth, some horny facehuggers emerge to get it on with their mouth holes. Their shenanigans cause an electric fire, resulting in the ship dropping out of hyperspace and ejecting the cryopods towards the nearest livable world. What follows is 45 minutes of boring plot development. I'm going to fast forward through to move this analysis along. Here's what you need to know from the content we skip. Ripley is the sole survivor of the escape pod, which crashed on Fury 161, a double Y Supermax prison. For those who skip Bio 101, this means dudes only.
How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
The prison has a warden, assistant warden, doctor, and 23 prisoners who committed crimes so heinous they had to be sent to a facility 20 light years from Earth. The only reason they're still alive is to provide slave labor for Weyland-Yutani, the evil megacorp that owns the planet, along with everything else in the galaxy. The former murderers, rapists, molesters, and thieves have all found God. This loosely keeps them in check without the need for weapons. Finally, the warden is a skeptical dick. While Ripley's getting nursed back to health by Dr. Tywin, the alien gets to work making James A. Janice some money with its first kill of the film.
What are you doing there?
Technically, the alien should only get an assist for this kill. It's the fan that really delivers the death blow, but if James counts it, I count it. This seemingly accidental death allows the alien to hit puberty without anyone becoming too suspicious. The second incident involves several people, with only one making it out alive. The new batch of dead prisoners convinces Ripley she's dealing with an alien, so she asks for a meeting with the warden. Ripley sums up her history with the beast and warns of its presence in the facility. The warden, who's short on brain cells, flat out thinks she's lying. In his opinion, the sudden deaths of 3 inmates after 5 years apiece should be viewed as nothing more than a fluke. When Ripley presses the warden on whether they have any weapons, he admits they have nothing other than a few kitchen knives. Upon receiving this news, Ripley sums up her assessment of their situation.
We're fucked.
To which the warden responds back, "No, you're fucked." He adds a cherry to this bad news sundae by mentioning Weyland-Yutani identified her as a person of high value and she's to be quarantined until an expedited rescue team arrives. She now is with an alien and an evil megacorp after her. Ripley is escorted back to her room where she starts taking stock of her situation. While shitty, it isn't all bad. The circumstance presents both advantages and disadvantages. Advantage: she's not on a spaceship. This means no acid bleeding alien can put a hole in her plan.
Right.
Disadvantage: she's not on a spaceship. This means no airlocks. There will be no easy wins with the help of this cheap plot device.
Right.
Disadvantage: her only help is a bunch of prisoners committed to life sentences for murder, rape, molestation, and theft. Advantage. Said prisoners have found God, committing themselves to his purpose, and in doing so taken a vow of celibacy. This small contingent of no-fap warriors should be viewed as testosterone-fueled berserks who with the right leadership can do some serious damage. History has shown that blind faith plus semen retention is a dangerous combo.
Puny God.
Disadvantage. Like most settings in the Alien universe, the facility is dimly lit and full of massive air vents. The dark, scary kind, perfect for a game of Xenomorph hide and kill. Disadvantage. The killer alien. Disadvantage. No guns to kill the killer alien. Advantage. The prison is a giant foundry manned by highly skilled labor. While we don't have guns, we do have the ability to make weapons. And the biggest advantage of all, Ellen Ripley. In addition to being a Starship Lieutenant, she is a walking encyclopedia on xenomorphs. She knows how they reproduce, how they hunt, and most importantly, how to kill them. 2 movies in, and she's pretty much branded herself as the galaxy's best xenomorph exterminator. Oh, and she's sexy as hell, even with a shaved head. Good-looking people always have an edge. Finally, we have the wild card Weyland Yutani. This could go either way. The rescue team is more likely a death squad sent to capture the alien and eliminate anyone who may divulge information about their new secret bioweapon. However, their greed, heavy weaponry, and starship may be our best bet to make it out of this situation. More on this later. As Ripley continues to think through the predicament, she's joined by Tywin. They continue to bond, gearing up for another round of hanky-panky when the alien pops its head through the vent looking for its next kill. After skull-f***ing Tywin, it moves on to Ripley but pauses before attacking. It lingers for a few moments and then spins around, scurrying off to leave her unharmed and confused by its behavior. Ripley darts out of the medical bay and runs headlong towards the cafe. There the warden is informing the prisoners the 3 earlier deaths were definitely not alien in nature. Ripley bursts into the room, countering these claims with news of the latest attack. The warden stubbornly refuses to believe, right up until the point where he's pulled into a ventilation duct by the very real Xenomorph. After witnessing the alien's murder theatrics up close, everyone quickly gets on the same page. So now that we have a captive audience, fully aware of the threat, what should we do? Run and hide? Start building weapons? Begin planning our trap? Seriously, where do we start? Well, as someone with zero military experience, I recommend we begin with a pinch of motivation. These guys are scared shitless and ready to run for their lives. If we're gonna have any chance, we need to focus their nervous energy towards a new shared goal of beating this thing. We need an Independence Day-like speech to get the troops motivated to take on the Xenomorph versus hiding while it kills them one by one. Bill Pullman was booked, so we'll have to settle for Dylan, the inmate's de facto leader and spiritual guide.
You're all gonna die. The only question is how you check out. Do you want it on your feet? Or on your fucking knees? Begging. I ain't much for begging. Nobody ever gave me nothing. So I say, fuck that thing. Let's fight it.
Damn, I've got goosebumps. If this group wasn't a bunch of Brits, they'd probably start pumping their fists in there while chanting USA. With our war boners fully erect, we now need to find a way to defend ourselves until we can think of a clever trap. While we don't have any modern weaponry, we do have a foundry and skilled labor at our disposal. These guys do nothing but work with metal all day, so they'll be able to create blades, spears, throwing stars, and other sharp objects. We should also fabricate rudimentary shields from all the metal barrels lying around. Shields can be used to partially block the acid blood, as well as the Xenomorph's claws and barb-tipped tail. We are now moderately more effective at repelling close-up attacks and have bought ourselves some time to build out our weapons cache. Going blow to blow with Xenomorphs rarely goes well for our species, so we need something to reach out and touch the alien from a distance. No guns forces us to look to our ancestors and their long-distance weapons of choice. Before the advent of gunpowder, traditional and crossbows were the best options. Given a crossbow is more difficult to construct, a traditional bow, more specifically a recurve bow, will be our best bet. It will provide us us with the best mix of ease of construction, usability, and range. However, the bow itself is only as good as the archer wielding it. It's going to be nearly impossible for a brand new archer to hit a moving target at any range. However, this facility is full of long passageways, dead ends, and corners that limit the alien's maneuverability. It's not out of the realm of possibility that a naturally gifted archer could get lucky with a 20-yard shot, especially if he had some time to practice. If any of you are skilled archers, I'd like to hear your thoughts on whether this is possible. Hit me up in the comments below. Upgrading our weapon's effectiveness is the next task. First, we should lace all blades with a neurotoxin or poison, compliments of our doctor, assuming he didn't die a few scenes back. This way we don't need to deliver a death blow to kill or slow it down. Then we should upgrade our long-range weaponry with poison or explosive tips. With just a spark, our mundane arrows can become certified boomsticks.
Groovy.
Now that we have weapons, let's discuss how we can camouflage our newly christened hunters. This starts with knowing what senses Xenomorphs possess. While we don't have access to Phantom.com, Ripley knows they lack eyes. Given this, we can assume they use other senses, such as hearing, smell, or even echolocation, like a bat. While we can't do anything about echolocation, we can limit its other senses. The most effective way to mask our sound would be to blast music through the prison's intercom while carefully tiptoeing through the facility using hand signals for communication.
Double chocolate chip muffin. Yum.
Masking our scent would be harder, as these guys haven't taken a shower in some time. There are two options here. The first method would be to whip up some scent remover, compliments of the totally not dead doctor. The second, and easier method, would be to reverse the vent airflow so that all smell blows away from the alien versus towards it. Look, I'm not saying we're gonna go all Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell on this thing, but at least we'd be able to start stacking the limited advantages we do have. Now we need a way to better track and or see the alien. Unfortunately for us, the prison's closed-circuit cameras are broken, and I don't think the inmates have the skills or resources to build leaf blower motion trackers like the crew of the Nostromo. However, just because we can't track it doesn't mean we can't increase our chances of seeing it from a distance. Given this facility's lighting was configured by a blind electrician, we need some way to remove the numerous shadows.
But look, running around down here in the dark, are you kidding? Once you get out of this main shaft, there's no overheads.
Don't we have flashlights?
Yeah, we got thousands of them, but no batteries. I told you nothing works.
With no functioning flashlights, we need to maximize the range of the light produced by their crude lanterns. It looks like they're burning some type of metal substance which is fairly bright but not focused. Similar to how a flashlight concentrates light, we can add polished metal or glass around a portion of the torch to focus the light in front of us, thus increasing its range. This may just allow us to see an alien hiding 10 yards away, giving our archers a chance to land a kill shot. So we're armed, partially camouflaged, and have improved our ability to see the alien from afar. That said, we're still not ready to build our trap. We need to discuss some close quarter combat tactics to use if attacked. Considering none of these prisoners will turn into Spartacus overnight, they'll need the easiest method possible to defend themselves if engaged by the alien. I recommend the shield wall from the documentary 300. Throughout history, this easy to follow military tactic has been used to achieve success. It goes as follows. Form a wall of shield so you don't get stabbed. Then use something pointy to stab the enemy until they give up. Again, I'm not saying they'll hold off Xerxes' army, but they will be better off than engaging this thing one-on-one. Okay, we're finally ready to start laying traps for the alien. We'll start with an idea brought to us by the film. As Ripley works with the inmates, she discovers the prison has a large toxic waste container that screams alien containment unit. Its 6-foot thick walls of solid steel are strong enough for the galaxy's worst toxins and perfect for an acid-spitting alien. All we need to do is get the alien inside the container.
All right, let me get this straight. You want to burn it down and out of the pipes. Force it here, slam the door, and trap its ass?
Ah, the good old flush them out the air duct routine. The plan is to coat the ventilation shafts with an explosive substance, light it, and in doing so, flush the alien into its new home. I actually think this is a valid tactic, even with evidence to the contrary provided in the first film. The problem is in its implementation. It all seems to require the group to split up and wander dark passageways by themselves. It's no different in this film, as prisoners are sent out solo to distribute the flammable liquid. Similar to the events in the first movie, a lone individual bumps bumps into the alien, meeting his end. This causes him to drop a sparky metal thing that blows up the trap along with half the inmates. So that didn't work, but maybe we can pair the volatile substance with the devout faith of the prisoners to accomplish our goal in a different way. Creating an explosive using the substance isn't hard. The difficult part is getting the explosive close enough to the alien to do harm. If only we had men so devout in their apocalyptic millenarian faith, they'd be willing to kill themselves in its name. Oh wait, we do have that. The promise of the afterlife has always been a strong motivator for warriors, and this situation is no different. With the right nudge, a few could be convinced to punch their ticket to the afterlife early while damning this beast to eternal flame. Arming a handful of the most ardent believers with explosives and sending them on a kamikaze attack against the Xenomorph may just be the edge we need to beat this thing. Admittedly, this is distasteful, but I'm here to tell you what it would take to beat the alien. It may seem exploitative, but if it gets us off this rock, it gets added to the list. While we're trying to sell the kamikaze option to the prisoners, Ripley's condition continues to worsen. The pain's intensity and duration can no longer be explained as just a result of the crash landing. She has a sneaking suspicion something else may be at play. Ripley slinks off to the crashed escape vehicle to use its medical diagnostic equipment. Borrowing the former aid of the warden, she lies down in one of the functioning pods, guiding the aid to scan her chest. Passing back and forth, the device scans increasingly deeper layers of her tissue until it encounters a foreign object in her chest.
What is it? Then you've got one inside of you.
Further evaluation reveals what she had feared most. She's carrying a Xenomorph queen inside her body. Ripley now knows why the drone has been reluctant to harm her. While having an alien queen inside Ripley is no bueno, it does give us a unique advantage. The series has shown that baiting a Xenomorph into a trap is difficult given their level of intelligence. Using androids and humans as bait won't cut it. The alien will realize we're setting a trap and retreat back into the shadows. However, we do know one vulnerability about the alien drone. It will risk everything to protect the queen growing inside Ripley. If we can convince it that Ripley's life and thereby the queen's life is at stake, it can be forced out of the shadows. There are a couple ways to do this. Staging a mock operation where it looks like the queen will be prematurely removed from Ripley's body is one option. Another possibility would be to make it look like the prisoners are attacking Ripley. In either situation, the goal is to make it look like the queen is threatened, forcing the alien drone into close proximity to Ripley. This is huge. Finally having effective bait means we can now confidently anticipate where the alien is going to be within a certain perimeter. This limits how much space we have to account for with our trap. So let's talk about the trap itself. The film went Terminator 2 on the alien, which I think is a little lazy and ultimately not that effective. We're also going to assume they used up all the explosive substance. We're back to going primitive. Our ancestors primarily used snares, pitfalls, deadfalls, and nets when it came to trapping large and dangerous game. I'm going to immediately rule out the first three as they all rely on luring the Xenomorph into a very specific spot. While I think we can feasibly get the drone within a 20 by 20 foot area, I doubt our ability to lure it into a snare or under a piece of heavy machinery long enough to spring the trap. Nets, however, allow us to cover a much larger area. A metal net could be produced in the foundry and attached to the ceiling, covering a 20 square foot kill zone. After our convincing theatrics baited the alien into the kill zone, we could drop the net, temporarily trapping it. This would give our team of swordsmen and spearmen enough time to stab the alien drone to death. It's ambitious, but would be our best bet as far as traps go. However, I think there's a better overall option. Regardless of whether or not we kill the alien using our trap or the molten lead option described in the film, Weyland-Yutani is on their way. As Ripley sums up, they don't give a shit about rescuing us. They're here for the queen.
When they first heard about this thing, it was crew expendable. The next time they sent in Marines, they were expendable too. What makes you think they're gonna care about a bunch of lifers who found God at the ass end of space?
The Weyland-Yutani soldiers will likely kill everyone who was in Ripley and then take her and the queen back for study. Let's use this knowledge to our advantage, saving our primitive weapons for a better opportunity. Here's what I'm thinking. Once the Weyland-Yutani team lands, we tell them the drone murdered everyone except for Ripley and a few other prisoners hiding deep within the facility. As the rescue team moves further into the prison, we make a run on their starship. Using the element of surprise, superior numbers, and our primitive weapons, weapons, we overpower any remaining guards. Once we take off, we blast the facility from orbit, killing a drone and the Weyland-Yutani death squad. Having sabotaged the communication equipment at the facility, we send a transmission back to Weyland-Yutani headquarters stating there was a toxic spill and everyone including the alien died. This would prevent them from sending another ship and putting a price on our heads. Ripley then plots a path back to civilization before we help her kill the queen alien. We then drift into hypersleep, totally not concerned about another alien stowaway. Personally, I think this is the best plan, but let me know your thoughts in the comments, along with any other ideas you have for beating the alien. I'll review your feedback and cover the best idea in one of my next videos. Thanks for watching, and remember to check under your cryo bed before drifting into hypersleep. Chances are, there's a facehugger who just can't wait to snuggle with you.